Sustainable foods. What do we know? Think back to the last time that you went grocery shopping. Do you remember what was in your cart? Do you know where those foods came from? Do you know how they were produced? The idea of sustainability is a term that has worked its way into the American vocabulary. What is this idea of sustainability, and how do we apply it to our everyday lives? My name is Haley Parmentier, and I recently moved to Amsterdam in the Netherlands. While I've been eating all the fabulous food here, I realized that the produce tastes amazing, and I wondered why. According to DutchAgroFood.com, Amsterdam is second only to the United States in the production of agro-foods. Agro-foods are sustainable farming practices that output things grown from the ground. So when you think about it, Holland is second only to a country that is 400 times its size for the amount of sustainable foods that it outputs. And as a student, why is this pertinent to us? Well, according to the European Commission, the average Western diet is high in fat and sugar, which definitely contributes to weight gain. So for those of us who are looking to stay away from the freshman 15, or in my case, the super senior 16, paying attention to what we eat is important, and sustainable foods are generally healthy foods. So the European Commission for the Environment website says that sustainability implies the use of resources at rates that do not exceed the capacity of Earth to replace them. So, broadly speaking, a sustainable system can impact issues such as world food supply, global health and safety, the food industry in terms of jobs and growth, and also environmental sustainability, which is what we're going to talk about today. Sustainability, to me, is comprised of four main initiatives. One is eating organic, two is eating holistic, three is low input farming, and four is biodynamic farming. So today we'll talk about all four of those points, and also I'll touch on where we can see these products actually in everyday life. Organic foods are prominent sustainable products. Let's define and learn about some products that are produced in this way. According to the BBC, organic food is a product of a farming system which avoids the use of man-made fertilizers and pesticides. But why not use pesticides or chemicals that kill off bugs? What do we know? The World Health Organization says that insecticide is dangerous because it can contribute to a loss of taste buds and actually sensation around your mouth. Ingesting insecticides can lead to hypersensitivity to light and sound, and in extreme cases, actually nausea and confusion. In Katrina Long's book, A Small Dose of Toxicity, she explains a study in which 70 men in the 1970s in Virginia were all working in a ketone factory. Ketone is an insecticide that was used in the 1970s. They experienced neurological symptoms, including tremors, that were then named the ketone shakes. Longer-term effects were actually a low sperm count, which contributed to fertility problems for these families. Toxopedia.com also explains that children are more susceptible to pesticides because of their relative size. Small children eat the same amount that adults do and breathe the same amount of air that adults do that are filled with insecticides, yet as they are growing, they're more susceptible to issues. So, organic produce is one way to stay away from the insecticides. And strawberries are a product that many actually produce because strawberries in those little areas where they have seeds actually tend to pull insecticides in, and it's very difficult to wash off. So for people who don't shop organic, they should probably stay away from strawberries and actually peel the skin of any fruit that they eat, because this will be full of pesticides and insecticides otherwise. So there are many ways to eat around pesticides, but you're less likely to ingest them if you just eat organic. Now, organic eating is a very specific approach. Don't add pesticides, and that's an organic product. However, a holistic approach is more of a lifestyle. Holistic foods can be defined and identified as, per Livestrong.com, a website devoted to cancer care and patient advocacy. Holistic nutrition is all about eating healthy food as close to its natural state as possible for optimum health and well-being. HolisticIngredients.com implies that most people should just eat raw foods if they're looking to lead a holistic lifestyle. My old roommate, Tatiana Carvalho, actually goes to a CrossFit gym in Milwaukee where they have holistic food eating competitions. They see who can stay with the holistic initiative as long as possible. She says that they only eat unrefined and unprocessed foods. They eliminate trans fat and processed sugars. And as a vegetarian, it's a really good way for her to ensure that she's eating healthy food with healthy fats and fiber. So, organic foods can comprise a holistic diet, but how are these foods produced? What do we know? Sustainable production practice equals low-impact farming. So let's define what low-impact farming is, LIFS, and talk about the products that it produces. The European Commission says that all LIFS have two things in common. They use no or low amounts of agrochemicals and water. The Institute of Environment and Sustainability explained that LIFs, low-income farms, try to minimize off-farm inputs, chemicals, and excess water, and look for highest efficiency on the farm itself and to use the farm's resources. So a huge part of this is actually soil conservation. So the goal of soil conservation is soil fertility and to improve the water buffer capacity, the WBC. SmartFertilizer.com says that water buffer capacity soils equals the soil's ability to absorb nutrients and to stay rich, which is determined by a pH balance, which we all learned about in science class. The pH balance tells you how basic or how acidic your soil is. Non-LIFs use chemicals to reach optimal acidity for their soil, but LIFs farmers use other means, which we'll talk about in just a few moments. Coffee, which most of us drink daily, and I actually inject intravenously during final season, is stated by the Rainforest Alliance to actually have roots in low-impact farms. So for decades now, South American coffee farmers have been using low-impact farming practices because in the rainforests of South America, the great canopy that covers where these coffee farms historically have lived actually provides enough shade for coffee to be produced effectively. This assists local wildlife and better bean quality. So not every coffee farm is sustainable, and if you want to make sure that yours is, you can look on the back of the package for that little green rainforest frog, the tree frog, and the Rainforest Alliance emblem. So organic and holistic foods can be produced by low-impact farms. Another process that can be found at low-impact farms, which I touched on earlier, is the idea of biodynamic farming practices. Biodynamics.com says that the idea comes from a 1920s Austrian educator, writer, and social activist. His name was Dr. Rudolf Steiner, and he explored the idea of anthroposophy, which is a formal educational, therapeutic, and creative system developed by Dr. Steiner, who was seeking to use primarily natural means to optimize physical and mental health and well-being. The European Commission calls biodynamics mixed crop livestock farming. The idea is that when you have a crop of corn next to a vast field of cows, you can then utilize that fertilizer produced from the cow's manure to create richness in your soil. And it's kind of like one big circular formation for the farm itself. So the European Commission calls this the simultaneous control of many species, but I just call it a well-balanced meal. And John C. Phillips, who is Assistant Professor of Food Marketing and Agribusiness Management at Cal Polytechnics in California, says that 76 registered biodynamic farms are operating in the U.S. Almost half are in California. However, I'm proud to say that there is one in Wisconsin. And Zinneker Farms, located in Elkhorn, Wisconsin, is the oldest biodynamic farm in America. They produce organic meats and eggs, raw honey, soap, and biodynamic compound prep. So if you're looking to start your own biodynamic farm, you can do so using their manure, which is fun. They have 3 generations of farmers working there, and they know what they're doing. So the organic and holistic foods can be produced by low input and biodynamic farms. Now, what do we know? It is important to know about the foods that we eat. If anyone would like recommendations on how to find sustainable foods near them or how to identify sustainable foods, please do reach out to me at haleyparmentier@gmail.com. I'm happy to put you in contact with somebody that I know in the area. In conclusion, there are many types of sustainable food processes and practices. I listed 4 today, but there are many others that provide health food fanatics like myself with means for survival. I hope I've informed you enough about why some groceries in your cart are labeled the way that they are, and I hope that in the future you can identify them for yourself. So, what do we know? Someone once said, "You are what you eat." Understanding what we eat is a great step towards becoming what we'd like to be. Thank you.